Montenegro is making its grand return to the Eurovision Song Contest in 2025. They're sending Nina Zizic with Dobrodošli. It means welcome, but will they be saying welcome to the grand final? Let's review Eurovision. Yes, Nina Zizic is not a newcomer to the Eurovision Song Contest. You may remember her from 2013. She did that little chorus thing in a Granca back in Malmo, with the massive two astronauts. She's partly responsible for that, but she's back this time. She's one of a couple of returning acts. She didn't originally win the Montenegrin national final. There was a dropout. It's all very, very confusing, but she has got the ticket to Basel with Dobrodošli. Let's have a listen.
Nasmij se, izdrži sve, proći će. Izdrži sve, proći će, nasmij se. Proći će, nasmij se, izdrži sve. Nestaće, prestaće, a kada će. Dobro došli meni vi.
That was a bit of Montenegro's entry. What do you make of it, Emily?
I think it's got a really kind of deep meaning behind it. And there are kind of parts of it that I really like. And, it's kind of it feels like a bit of a story of kind of endurance and, you've kind of got to grit your teeth to get through it. So I quite like the messaging, but it just feels a bit I get kind of a bit bored with it. It feels like another kind of Balkan ballad is probably what I would say on it. It doesn't feel like anything new. It feels like, something that we've kind of heard many times before. It's perfectly pleasant to listen to. And she's got a great voice, but yeah, it doesn't really do that much for me, if I'm totally honest.
Yeah, I think it's a Balkan ballad, to its core. I think it's not reinventing the wheel, but I think it does. I think it's a bit, did you say it was boring? Was that one of the words you use, or you get bored?
I can't remember if I said that, but I think that would probably fit, yeah.
There. I'm not quite sure I'm as far as bored. I think the national final, obviously, because it was a pretty small venue, it wasn't very, massively produced, wasn't great. Then they did like a showcase performance where it was properly staged. It was, I mean, she was mouthing the words, but I think it brought a drama. It brought kind of the black and white contrast that actually made it much more interesting to watch. And I think if they do something, there is potential here. It's not as good a song, I don't think, but there is potential for a Tamara Tedevska like 2019 North Macedonia, where this does surprisingly very, very well. Especially with the juries, it just needs to get out of the semi-final in the first place. We'll get onto that in a second. But I think this is the type of thing that juries will love, and if they stage it right, actually this could do quite well because there is a drama, because she performs it well, because the song itself is ticking a lot of boxes, and there are a lot of countries that love this sort of stuff. So I think it's not it's a again perfectly serviceable ballad, and she sings it well, and with the right staging, I think this has definitely got potential. What isn't helping it though is its running order slot. It's in the second semi-final and is going second. It's the death slot. It's only called the death slot in the final because no one's ever won from second, obviously, but it is not an easy position to be qualifying from. It's going immediately after Australia and immediately before Ireland. So it's got two quite flashy, jokey-ish songs on either side of it. Do you think that will make it stand out, or do you think it's going to get lost in the melee, Emily? And what's your score out of 10?
Yeah, so it's obviously not got the best kind of placing for the final. I mean, and I think that's if you look at the bookies, I think it's currently last in terms of kind of odds on winning, which I think probably is reflected by the fact that it's been put second. And I do think that's quite kind of harsh. And there's been a lot of kind of conspiracy theory chat about why it's been placed second. So I think yeah, it has been put at a bit of a kind of unfair disadvantage. Whether it still qualifies, I don't know. I think sandwiched between them, it could like either make or break it. It either really makes it stand out as something kind of unique, or it just, gets completely forgotten between those two entries. But yeah, so I wouldn't want to call on whether it gets through, but especially with it just being Televote, I'm not too sure. My personal score, I'd give it a 6.
Fair enough. That was very
That's
abrupt.
it. That's it.
That's it. Fair enough. Yeah, and I'm also going to give it a 6. I think it's serviceable, not bad. She sings it well. Let's see what happens. I think it's going to struggle to get out, unfortunately. Um, Particularly because it's got two really flashy things on either side of it. And I think if it were, again, just literally just later in the running order, it might stand a bit more of a chance. But we saw last year with Albania, they were placed in slot two. They had pretty flashy songs on either side of it, and I think they came nearly dead last in the semi-final. And it's going to need a lot of staging, I think, to make this stand out and make it memorable. So as it stands, it's not qualifying, I don't think, which would be a shame because I hope Montenegro does rarely qualify, and I hope they don't take this as a complete rejection of their return to the contest because it's important as countries are dropping like flies in this in Eurovision. It's important we keep as many on as possible. So I hope they're not too disheartened, but I'd like to see it there because it's a bit of diversity for the final, but not too convinced when it's televote only. What do you think, though? Do let us know. The comments are open. You can subscribe and you'll get every single review that we do up until the day of the contest. We're also on Instagram and TikTok as well, so do give us a little cheeky follow there as well. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.